Hello everyone, my name is Esther Allen and I'm a graduate student at Humboldt University of Berlin in the Global Studies program, where we study social inequality, neoliberalism, globalization, and how the legacy of colonialism structures our world today. My particular research interests focus on the emotions behind social inequality, race, and whiteness in the United States. My MA thesis takes a look at the emotions behind the opposition to critical race theory in the United States, specifically the emotions and feelings pertaining towards liberalism and how this shapes conservative whites' relationship to critical race theory. My thesis took off from a research essay that I wrote for Dr. Rosa Castillo titled Affect and White Identity, a look at the effective manufacturing of an oppressed white identity in the United States. My goal of this essay was to look at the affective dimensions of whiteness, specifically this emerging phenomenon of a mainstreamed oppressed white identity in the United States that academic Carolyn Gallagher has identified. This oppressed identity is notable because it shifts away from blatant old-fashioned racism prior to the civil rights movement, where white people are inherently superior. Today we see white people making claims to oppression and equating their struggle to historically disadvantaged groups. So I wanted to know, where did this feeling come from and what does white oppression look like? I was really influenced by Tamar Blickstein's chapter, Affects of Racialization, in the Affective Society's Key Concepts book, and her point that all affects are located in history. I looked into different moments in US history where this narrative of oppressed white identity has been emotionally employed and how it's reproduced itself over time. This paper was highly influenced by Trump's first and second campaign and his emotional appeal to the overlooked, average, forgotten American.
Every day, I wake up determined to deliver a better life for the people all across this nation that have been ignored, neglected, and abandoned.
So there are 4 examples of the suppressed identity that I looked into. The first is what Noam Chomsky terms the dangerous others. Since the neoliberal turn, the white working class has become mobilized on cultural and religious issues. Historically, this has been communism, then it was the war on drugs, war on terrorism, and today it's immigrants. This is done through a narrative of a society in moral decay. Following this narrative of a society in moral decay, my second example looks into the politicization of abortion, which had actually stemmed from post-civil rights resentment towards government intrusion on ending white segregated spaces. And again, you can see the manufacturing of a discontent among white people. I then look at Ronald Reagan's ethnic American speech, which was more or less a dog whistle to the traditional European background immigrants who made up the white working class. Reagan's speech tapped into an anxiety of white people feeling discriminated against and displaced by affirmative action, and intensified feelings of whites becoming invisible in the current political landscape. The last example is more contemporary, and I wanted to show how these old affects sustain themselves over time. I look at Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is an extremist right-wing representative from Georgia, who wanted to create a political group called the America First Caucus. The goal of this caucus was to preserve Anglo-Saxon traditions, reprioritize the native-born American, and to preserve European architecture in the United States. This example lends to the feelings of white identity being overtaken today. I noticed in this example that a we formation was especially evident, as Ural and Berg explained in their text reading for Affect, and was really just stunning to see how emotional the white body is today in the United States. Researching the historical origins of affects and whiteness is significant because affects continuously reproduce themselves. While it's easy to dismiss these examples as irrelevant or that we've moved on from them, we really haven't. These are issues and feelings that people still have today, and they're perpetuating dangerous ideas of both white bodies and non-white bodies. Thank you for listening. I hope you found this presentation interesting and informative. I encourage you to read my essay and to reach out with any suggestions or feedback you may have.